Number 5. The 30 Years' War. This war had it all: religious strife, territorial disputes, succession issues, and more. It began in Central Europe with Catholics fighting Protestants, but soon engaged much of the continent with belligerents, citing so many reasons for involvement it is nearly impossible to figure out exactly who was fighting who and for what reason. A series of treaties worked out during the year 1648 that collectively came to be called the Peace of Westphalia, halted much of the fighting, with certain countries reorganized each other's right to exist, and certain religious groups agreeing to tolerate the survival of the counterparts.
Number 4. The Cold War. From the closing days of World War II until the final breakup of the USSR in early 1990s, a state of war almost existed between the Soviet bloc and the capitalist West. The nearly 5 decades of war saw the development of weapons too horrid to imagine, the acceleration of scientific development too amazing to think of living without, and the series of so-called proxy wars, fought in locations unlikely to draw the two superpowers, the USSR and the USA, into an actual shooting war. Countries like Korea, Vietnam and Chechnya saw a battle, while the world at large saw a Cold War.
Number 3. The Punic Wars. Carthage and Rome hated each other, plain and simple. For it's based in modern Italy, ancient Rome saw its imperial ambitions blocked primarily by the Carthaginian kingdom located in northern Africa and modern Spain. The ancient world was not big enough for two growing civilizations, and thus between 264 and 146 BC, the two empires fought a series of massive wars. The Punic Wars saw the battle at sea, elephants crossing the Alps, the fall of Hannibal, and eventually largely unchecked dominance of Rome over much of the known world.
Number 2. The 100 Years' War. This century-long conflict between the French and the Brits actually lasted more than 122 years. But that doesn't have the same ring, and it was more like the 100 years of sometimes we fight a lot of sometimes things are cool. But that too lacks charm. At stake was no less than the throne of France, with the mixed bloodlines of the English and French monarchs making it hard to tell who had rightful claim. Famous figures such as Joan of Arc and Edward III rose to international prominence. The Black Death changed the course of the war, only to have battles such as Agincourt changes it right back, and in the end some treaties doled out land among rich nobles.
Number 1. The 30-135 Years' War. This war, history's longest conflict, exemplified the anti-war expression, "Suppose they gave a war and nobody came." During the English Civil War, a group of royalists took refuge on the archipelago of the UK named the Isles of Sicily. The Netherlands, allied with Cromwell's forces, declared war on the breakaway region and dispatched their navy. And that was it. The Dutch navy never attacked, eventually sailing home. That was in 1652. In the year 1986, some ambassadors realized that ever so technically a state of war will exist between these close modern allies, and formalized a peace treaty between the UK and the Netherlands.